Everyone says to save for a rainy day because life is just so affordable, right? In theory, it's smart advice. But in reality, how do you prepare for an emergency when daily life already feels like one? This video isn't anti-saving. Emergency funds can be life-changing. But for millions, that advice feels more like a punchline than a plan. Let's talk about why. Why the math doesn't math. We act like financial security is just about willpower and discipline. Like if you really tried, you'd have that emergency fund by now. But for so many people, the math simply doesn't add up. Wages have been stagnant while the cost of living explodes. Housing, groceries, gas, childcare, and budgeting apps can't solve a broken system. You can't cut back your way to stability when your income doesn't cover your basic needs. Even for those who earn just enough to have some breathing room, the advice still assumes we're all wired to plan for the long term. But the truth is, when the future feels out of reach, when owning a home or retiring comfortably seem like fantasies, it's natural to focus on what brings a little relief right now. That's not a lack of discipline. It's a response to uncertainty. People aren't reckless. They're doing what they can to feel stable in a world that rarely is. And then, add in the pressure from social media. You're constantly bombarded with people who seem like they've got it all together: the vacations, the home renovations, the expensive skincare routine. It starts to feel like you're the one who's behind. So, of course, people overspend. Not because they don't know better, but because they're human, trying to keep up in a world that punishes you for looking like you're struggling. We talk so much about bad financial decisions, but rarely about the context in which those decisions are made. What actually helps? People don't need another lecture about budgeting. That shifts the focus from the system to the individual. People need breathing room, affordable housing, universal health care, childcare that doesn't cost as much as rent, livable wages, accessible quality education, debt relief. Take someone earning just above minimum wage. After rent, groceries, gas, and maybe a phone plan, there's nothing left. Then their car breaks down. That's not a line item in the budget. It's a crisis. So they put it on a credit card. Interest builds. And here's the kicker. The less money you have, the more everything costs. No cashback perks, no low interest rates, no buying in bulk. You pay more to get less, just for being broke. Now that emergency fund advice feels more like a cruel joke than a helpful tip. Most people aren't failing at money. They're trying to win a game that was rigged against them. Why the rich don't need to budget. Here's the part they don't put in personal finance books. The ultra-rich don't need budgets. They don't need emergency funds. They don't even need income. Once you have enough capital, assets, inheritance, ownership, your money makes more money than you ever could. That's why budgeting advice feels so disconnected. It assumes everyone has access to the same tools. But we're not even playing the same game. Most working and middle-class people are taxed directly from their paychecks. Every dollar earned is a dollar taxed. Meanwhile, billionaires, they don't rely on income. They live off investments, which are taxed less. They use trusts, offshore accounts, and legal loopholes to shield their wealth. And when they are taxed, they've got entire teams to help them avoid paying more than the bare minimum. Take the Walmart heirs, just one example. The original fortune was split among multiple family members, and yet each one is still a billionaire. Not because they invented anything, not because they worked 40 hours a week, but because they were born into capital. The money they inherited keeps multiplying because they own stock and assets. And when you own stock and assets, you don't need income. And when you don't need income, you don't pay income tax. And this isn't just an American issue. Globally, we're seeing the same thing. Inherited wealth passed through generations, growing without labor, and taxed at far lower rates than what most workers pay. It's a system where a small group of people can live in permanent luxury, while the rest are told to just budget better. Think about that. The average worker is told to skip takeout and save their pennies, while billionaires skip income taxes entirely and gain more wealth just by existing. Fair taxation helps everyone. So, nope, the solution isn't another budgeting TikTok. It's systemic change. It's making sure the wealthiest actually pay their fair share. Taxing wealth, not just wages, could fund universal health care, make housing actually affordable, lower taxes for middle and working class families, expand mental health support and accessibility services, provide affordable childcare, strengthen education, Expand the safety nets people need to thrive, not just survive. And no, this isn't about punishing success or capitalism. It's about building a version of it that more people can actually participate in. One with guardrails, so it doesn't spiral into a system that only serves those at the very top. And here's the reality. Asking the ultra-rich to pay more won't change their lives. They already have more money than they could ever spend. 1,000,000 seconds is about 12 days. 1,000,000,000 seconds? That's over 31 years. That's the difference between being rich and being so wealthy you simply can't run out of money, even if you tried. To put it in perspective, the richest 1% own more wealth than entire countries. Imagine their fortune as a country's GDP. One billionaire's net worth can exceed that of some small nations. Asking them to pay a fair share in taxes isn't about taking away their lifestyle. They've benefited the most from the system. It's only right they pay their fair share to keep it going for everyone else. Fairly taxing that wealth won't stop them from living luxuriously. It will just make life less impossible for everyone else. Because fair taxation doesn't hurt the economy. It stabilizes it. When regular people have money to save, spend, and plan with, everyone benefits. You are not the problem. So the next time someone says, it's all about personal responsibility, ask them what system they're living in. Because it's probably not the one you're surviving in. If you've ever felt ashamed for not saving more, don't. You are not failing. You're not broken. You're living in a system that makes it incredibly hard to get ahead, and then blames you for it. Yes, small financial choices matter. Yes, there's always room for better budgeting when possible. But let's be honest. No amount of coupon clipping fixes unaffordable housing, wage stagnation, or billionaires dodging taxes. We shame individuals without asking why they make the choices they do, and most of the time, they're doing their best in a system that was never built for them to win. And the people hoarding the most wealth? They've been protected from responsibility their entire lives. The system is failing, not you. And the more we name it, the more we push for a world where security isn't a luxury. It's a right. If that resonates with you, help this message reach more people. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Every bit of engagement gives this message more weight. My voice alone won't shift the conversation, but together it can get louder. And the louder we get, the harder it is to ignore the people the system keeps leaving behind.